Hi, everyone. I'm Ronnie, and you're listening to Clean With Me, the podcast where I talk you through cleaning your house. Thanks for joining me. In today's episode, I'm going to talk you through cleaning your front room, which could be your living room or it could be just the entryway, and your kitchen. And I'm also going to respond to a listener about her nightmare mother-in-law. Let's get right into the episode. It's time to gear up for your cleaning session. Maybe you need to freshen up for the day. You could be laying around on your couch or bed. It's time to get dressed into something that's comfortable yet presentable and maybe freshen up a little bit. Maybe you need to wash your face and run a brush through your hair using a spray bottle to get rid of that bed head. Or maybe you want to put your hair up. Or maybe you like to have a full face of makeup on. Whatever it takes for you to feel ready for the day. When you look good, you feel good. And that can be a great way to kickstart your cleaning session. Another thing you might want to do is start a load of laundry. I'm recording this early in the morning and I've already started a load of laundry. And a lot of people do this after they clean, but I like to put some fresh wax in the wax warmer or light a candle so that I can enjoy that smell while I'm cleaning. And it's also important to take out the trash at the beginning of a kitchen cleaning session because you're probably going to be throwing stuff away. And that's also going to help ensure that your house smells fresh. So I'm going to give you a couple more minutes to do whatever you need to do to gear up for your cleaning session. I'm not expecting you to do everything I talked about, but I was just giving you some ideas on how to kick things off because sometimes getting started is the hardest part when you don't feel like doing housework, and these little things can help get you going. I mean, taking out the trash is a good one because you get outside, you get some fresh air, you get some sunlight, and that can get your blood pumping and help you feel energized. If you're not going outside, another time-honored tradition is opening up your curtains or blinds before a cleaning session and letting in some natural light. And that can even have the side benefit of making you clean faster because you might feel like somebody's going to look in and see your messy front room or something like that. So those are just some ideas. While you're gearing up for your cleaning session, I'll read the story from a listener. She said, and I quote, "My husband and I went on vacation. My mother-in-law, who is the worst, came into our home using our spare key. She cleaned our entire house, including my nightstand and under my bed. There were so many personal things in there. I felt so violated. Cringy behavior." And yeah, that that would be super embarrassing. I don't even mean to laugh about it. I replied, I'd be mortified. But then another listener kind of had a different take on it. And she was talking about how she has kind of been the person who goes in and cleans to help someone. Someone had to travel for a funeral and she felt that they needed that help and encouragement. She said that this is a different listener. She said that no sick or grieving person should come home to a house that makes them feel overwhelmed. So, quote unquote, I am guilty of trying to help. She went on to say, when I have done that, I put the blinders on. I pretend that I'm cleaning for a stranger to get the house set up for guests. I don't judge and I don't look at items as personal. I treat it like business. When finished, I place folded laundry in baskets, not in drawers, so as not to invade privacy. I try to do nice touches like fancy folded toilet paper, edging, and clean towels put out. Full disclosure, the people I did this good deed for were evenly split. Half loved my generosity, and half were angry and nasty. The angry ones, I had actually also swept the sidewalk and put fresh flowers on the kitchen counter. I also realize that a mother-in-law cannot ever do anything right due to our cultural disposition to portray the relationship between in-laws as adversarial. So two different points of view there, and I'm going to give you my take on it. The next thing I want you to do is gather up dishes from around the house. This may or may not apply, but it's possible that you have cups on the nightstand or a plate and a fork in a teenager's room, or maybe somebody didn't clear their dish from the table. I don't know what time of day you're cleaning or what you're dealing with, but it's disheartening to find dirty dishes after you think you've already washed the dishes. So, a good way to kick off your kitchen cleaning session is to bring everything to the sink area. Some people say put it all in the sink, but the reason I say the sink area is I don't like to put glasses in the sink that could break. And I also don't put sharp knives in the dishwater when I'm, starting a sink load to soak or whatever, because yes, I've made the mistake where I've reached in and grabbed a knife that I couldn't see under the bubbles or whatever. So, safety first, folks. A lot of times I'll have the glasses next to the sink and I'll even have some knives soaking in one of the glasses just to keep any hazards out of the sink. While you're gathering up your dishes and putting away clean dishes, because that's the next step, emptying your drying rack and or dishwasher, I'll tell you a quick story. One time I was doing dishes and I was kind of in a hurry. I was moving quickly and it was a phase where I was hand washing. My dishwasher was probably out of order or something at the time. This was years ago. And I did have a dishwasher in that house, but I was hand washing. And all of a sudden, I felt a sharp pain. I lifted my hand out of the dishwater and there was a broken mug stuck to my hand. Like I lifted up the entire mug, it was stuck in my hand. My sister ended up having to take me to the hospital late at night to get stitches. So, yeah, I'm careful about things like that. Cups, mugs, mainly what I put in the dishwater when I fill the sink are either pots and pans, bowls, plates. I don't put any cups, mugs, or sharp knives in there. I do soak, forks and spoons in there and stuff like that. So, anyway, just a thought there. Once you've gathered up all your dirty dishes, you've put away all your clean stuff. And by the way, don't be tempted to skip the step of putting away the clean stuff because you're going to work faster. Obviously, you have to empty the dishwasher before you can reload it. But when you're hand washing, you're going to work faster if you have plenty of space to put things as you wash them and you don't have to put any thought into stacking them strategically on top of an existing pile. And let's face it, even a huge pile of clean dishes makes your kitchen look cluttered. We're all tempted to sometimes just add to that pile. Don't do it. Let's get the clean stuff put away if you have anything air drying. And then, of course, just start doing the dishes, whatever that means for you, whether you're doing an empty reload and run of the dishwasher and hand washing a few things, or you're starting the first sink load of silverware or whatever, and you're going to hand wash everything. And I do put cups and glasses down into the water, but I don't have them banging around with the other stuff. I do it in steps, if that makes sense. So just be working on your dishes. And as usual, when you're done with the dishes, you're going to start cleaning the surfaces of your kitchen. You're going to throw away trash. You're going to clear off your countertops and you're going to start wiping things down from the top down, possibly starting with your cabinet fronts and that microwave that's up above your stove and working your way down. But another comment by the original commenter whose mother-in-law invaded her privacy, she said that her mother-in-law has just gotten worse and worse in every possible way and that her husband was blind to it until he wasn't. And now they just see her rarely and she has no real access to them or their children unless they decide to go down there. It's not just cleaning, it's all around toxic. So obviously there's more at play here than just the time that the mother-in-law cleaned. But I will say this, some people do express love by cleaning. I'm not saying that that was the situation here at all. but I'm kind of addressing the other person's perspective because we have another listener who is the person who goes in and cleans for somebody who lost a loved one or whatever. And then another example that I can think of is when someone has a baby. Often the mother-in-law or the mom wants to come over and do housework for them. And I do agree that people are kind of split into two camps on this because some people are like, yes, of course, my mother in law can come over to clean. More power to her. Be my guest. They welcome that help. And then others are like, no, I want my own mom over because I don't want my mother in law seeing, my mess or whatever. And I guess that's one of the reasons why, we do the nesting and we do a lot of cleaning before the baby's born because people are going to be coming over and this and that. So I understand that people are kind of split on this issue. There have been times when my kids were younger where my mom would spend a few days at our house while my husband and I were traveling out of town. And my mom would do some cleaning, but she never ventured into our bedroom. Like normal people know that they're not supposed to go in and deep clean your bedroom for you. Like at the most, she would have sent one of my kids with a pile of folded clothes and been like, go put this on your mom's bed. Something like that. She understands those boundaries for sure. So regardless of how someone feels about another person coming in to clean, to do them a favor, because some of us kind of don't even want that. This mother-in-law, in my opinion, still overstepped her bounds by going into their bedroom. She could have cleaned the rest of the house. But at the same time, there's a part of me that feels bad, like that the grandkids aren't going to see her anymore and this and that. And I'm not judging you at all. I'll call you E. I'll give your first initial. I'm not judging you at all here because I don't know the full story. I don't know how toxic this person is. I don't know. And obviously it is your husband's responsibility to navigate this relationship with his mom. It shouldn't be up to you to, try to keep this woman at arm's length. That's his responsibility. But I do feel bad about her not seeing the grandkids anymore. What I would do in this situation is install a lock on my bedroom door. I learned this from my in-laws years ago. Whenever they would leave town or something, or even just leave for the day, they would lock their bedroom because a lot of times personal items, valuables, and whatever else you keep in your bedroom. And this shouldn't be the same key to your house because obviously your mother-in-law has the spare key. Maybe it's not doable to change all of the locks on your home, or you want her to have the spare key for emergencies. Well, you don't, but your husband might have wanted her to have that spare key for emergencies or something. However, there's no reason that she needs to go into your bedroom. I doubt the only bathroom in your house is inside of the master bedroom. Usually if there's only one bathroom, it's in the hallway, and if there are two bathrooms, guests can use the other bathroom. My point is, everyone who possibly has other people using a key and coming into their house while they're gone should have a key lock on their bedroom door. And the other reason for it is if you have adult children with a key, you're not always sure who they might bring over while you're gone. And it just solves a lot of issues knowing that nobody's going to be in your bedroom while you're gone. And it sounds like you're no longer having this problem. This is an old story or whatever. But for anyone else who's dealing with this, installing a lock can help you avoid a lot of conflict. And don't get me wrong, I understand that you probably don't want your mother-in-law cleaning any part of your house, and I get that. But the gross invasion of privacy was when she went into your bedroom and looked in your nightstand drawer, under your bed, etc. You don't do that in an adult couple's room. This is a family show, but let's just leave it at that. So to the other listener, who I will call T, I would just say that when you do this, maybe ask the people first, say, I want to do something for you. I want to come in and clean. But I don't think that you should go into their bedroom, I think it would still help people if you clean the rest of their house and respected just the sanctity of their bedroom. Don't get me wrong, I'm not downplaying your generosity and the fact that you're trying to help people, and maybe you have a gift for cleaning for others. That's wonderful, but number one, I think you should get permission, and number two, I think you could just do everything besides the bedroom. Because again, my mom tends to want to go in and clean for her kids, her daughters-in-law, but what she doesn't do is clean their bedrooms. And I personally would rather someone help me in another way and just not clean my house at all. But I definitely appreciate both of your perspectives on this, ladies. It made for a good topic to bring up. I feel like it's something that nobody's really talking about. And that's what I do on this show. I talk about things that nobody talks about. Hopefully by now you've gotten all your clean dishes put away and you've gotten most of your dishes washed. We're going to spend just a couple more minutes washing dishes. Obviously, some of you might be ahead of the game. Not everybody starts one of these sessions with a backlog of dishes. I get that. Some of you are cleaning surfaces. But as usual, if all you get done during this episode is your dishes, you've made progress. I've done my job, and you can always listen to another episode after this when you have more time and energy, or even if you're out of time, just give you can always just give your countertops a swipe and do a deeper clean of your kitchen tomorrow. But in a couple of minutes, most of you are going to be ready to move on to the surfaces in your kitchen. Although I identify with E's perspective, I really like something that T said, that the people were evenly split, because I recognize that some people want another person to come in and clean their house when they're going through a hard time. Even though I can't relate to that, it's definitely a thing. That's why I say just get people's permission. Just say, I really want to come in and clean for you. Would that be okay? And don't worry, I won't go into your bedroom or anything. I just want to deep clean the rest of your house for you. At that point, the ball would be in their court to be like, clean my bedroom too if you want. If you need more time on dishes, pause the episode, listen to a couple songs, or just keep doing dishes while I talk about other things. But it's time to wipe down those cabinet fronts, or maybe even the cabinet tops if you have the cabinets that don't go all the way up to the ceiling. But let's face it, that's kind of a deep cleaning task, and you might be in a state of overwhelm to where you don't want to worry about the cabinet tops that are out of sight today. You can leave that dust for another day if that's the case. For a lot of us, we would just wipe down our upper cabinets at this point. And like I said, you might have a microwave over the stove. What about cleaning inside your microwave? Your bonus task, should you choose to accept it, is to clean the inside of your microwave. Maybe you have that turntable, the glass turntable thing, and you need to put that in the sink and get it soaking in case there's been any splatters on that. A good way to clean the inside of your microwave is to boil a little bit of vinegar or hot water in a cup and kind of get it steamy in there, or just scrub it out. If you do use some type of cleaning product, you can wash that out afterward to remove any chemical residue. Sometimes we have an aversion to using any kind of chemical inside of our dishwasher or our microwave. Technically, you can do it as long as you wash off the residue. And of course, there's something to be said for just Dawn dish soap and hot water. We know Dawn's safe because they're using it on those ducks that are covered in oil, the little baby ducks out in the ocean. And of course, there's the usual wiping down the countertops, the stove top, scrubbing out your sink. By the way, if you have something sitting there soaking, I recommend setting a timer on your phone to remind you to come back and wash that, unless you're getting ready to head out the door and you're going to come back and wash something at the end of the day. You just want to avoid getting in that cycle that perpetual cycle where there's always something soaking until the next day. You want to get down to dish zero. It just does a lot of things because keeping up on your dishes is such a springboard chore, and it can be disheartening to get up in the morning and you've got something soaking from the night before. I get letting something soak for a few hours, but wash it before the day is up. You want to have that rule, that general rule. Obviously, rules are made to be broken at times, but that general rule of washing every single item either right after dinner or before you go to bed if people are eating late into the night. But you want to wake up with a clean kitchen and just empty your drying rack and dishwasher in the morning. Like I've said in many episodes, you're going to drop the ball at times. Sometimes you're going to come home late and just crash, but that should be the exception and not the rule. Don't get into a cycle where it's okay to have something soaking in the sink when you go to bed. You don't want to always do that. Let the item soak for a couple hours and then come back to it. And I'm really big on setting an alarm on my phone for things like switching the laundry or going back to the kitchen to wash something else. And I've even been known to do this with the dishwasher. If I had a lot of other things to work on or when I was working at home with a remote job, I would set a timer reminding myself to reboot the dishwasher. Like, I'm going to put everything in the dishwasher, I'm going to put it away, and then I'm going to put these last couple pots and pans in the dishwasher. I'm not really big on washing pots and pans in the dishwasher, but sometimes it can be okay if you have a really good dishwasher and you're only washing a few pots and pans. But let's face it, it's easier to just wash them by hand after they've been soaking. The key is remembering to go back and take care of them so that you don't get into the cycle. Another common cause of this perpetual, and be wiping down the surfaces in your kitchen, your countertops, scrubbing out your sink, and then moving down to the lower cabinets. And don't forget your appliance fronts, your refrigerator, your oven, your dishwasher if you have one. But another thing that gets people stuck in a cycle of perpetual soaking sometimes is using a crock pot. A lot of times things get kind of baked on to a crock pot and then it has to soak for a while. Invest in crock pot liners if that's the case. Now, usually what I make in the crock pot is either stew or beans, and these are kind of wet dishes that don't really dry on. So as long as you transfer the food into a different container for storage, it can be pretty easy to clean out your crock pot. But for some things where it tends to get a little baked on or whatever, maybe a roast, you want to use a crock pot liner. Okay? I sometimes do this when I make the large bone-in turkey breast. It's basically like a small turkey with no wings or legs. I like to do the crock pot liner because sometimes the bottom of it can kind of get stuck. You know, pieces of meat can get stuck to the bottom of the crock pot and it can be a hassle to clean. Definitely identify these problem areas that are sabotaging your attempts to keep up on dishes. Whether you need paper plates or plastic utensils or crock pot liner or disposable cups or identifiable cups. Okay? There are solutions to some of these issues. Obviously, there's no substitute for just getting your butt in gear and cleaning the kitchen. But if there's a certain thing that you struggle with, there might be a solution for that. Like if you're generally doing your dishes, but you have a problem with things perpetually soaking. Or here's another solution. If you make casseroles like lasagnas and stuff, don't reheat that casserole in the same pan that you originally baked it in. It's going to get even more baked on unless you're using a disposable container. I don't live near a Costco or a Sam's, but when I did, I would get the aluminum pans in bulk. And then when I would make a lasagna or something, I'd make it in that pan. I would sometimes wash the pan and reuse it, but I kind of reserved the right to throw it away if it was baked on. Like if we had put that same pan back into the oven the next day, it was going to go in the trash. You see what I'm saying? You don't necessarily need all of the solutions that I'm mentioning, but you might need one or two of them. For example, I know someone who just hates washing silverware. Disposable silverware would be a solution for her. So hopefully by now you have the surfaces of your kitchen clean, the upper surfaces, the cabinets, the countertops. And if it's taking you too long to wipe down the surfaces of your kitchen, you may be storing too many small appliances and other items on your countertops. You want to streamline that. You want to have places for things. Have a place to put your blender, your air fryer, and whatever else you don't necessarily use every day. Have other places for them besides the countertop, because it's easier to just spray and wipe down your surfaces when you don't have as many obstacles. Okay? Before you clean your kitchen floor, I want you to quickly straighten up your front room. That way you can sweep or vacuum kind of in one step at the end. I think it's a good combo to get your kitchen and front entrance area under control when you don't have time to necessarily work on the whole house. By the way, if you're like, my whole house needs an overhaul, I recently made a 2-hour bonus episode, and I told like 4 interesting stories. At least they're interesting to me, but I told like 4 stories you might find interesting during that 2-hour episode. So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, these bonus episodes are already being advertised to you. Just click on start trial or free trial, whatever that button says, for the Clean With Me Unplugged episodes. But if you're not using an Apple device, or you're just not into the Apple Podcast app for whatever reason, you can also join my Patreon page or the Spreaker Supporters Club. I'll put a link in the description for both my website and the Spreaker Supporters Club. And my website gives step-by-step instructions on how to subscribe to bonus episodes on Apple. And there's also a link to my Patreon. And some people get confused and they're like, do I need the Patreon plus the Apple? No. If you support the show in any way financially, you unlock the bonus episodes. I post the same bonus episodes in my Patreon and in the Spreaker Supporter Club that I post on the Apple Podcast Clean With Me Unplugged channel. So basically, there are 3 ways to unlock bonus episodes. Visit cleanwithmepodcast.com to learn more about that if you need help with figuring out how to do that. And I don't expect anyone to support the show financially to unlock those episodes, but I sure appreciate it when someone does. And when you do get those bonus episodes, you're getting the full program. You're getting more cleaning sessions, more cleaning motivation, and you're getting your entire house clean in the course of the week. So make sure that you straighten up your couch cushions, pick up any clutter off the floor. If you have a front room that's on the front of your house, maybe you have a dedicated foyer area that's more important to you right now. I like to start at the front door when I'm overwhelmed with housework, and I like to keep the front entrance of my home perpetually tidy. It doesn't always happen since we only have one living area, so that's the room we hang out in. But at one house, I had kind of a large foyer area where there was an entryway and a formal dining room, and I kept all of that perpetually clean. The family room, as we called it, was on the back of the house, and the kitchen couldn't even be seen from the front door. So it was easy for me to give the impression of a perpetually clean house by prioritizing that foyer area. But when that's your living room, raise the standard in your living room. Okay? I'm going to give you a few more minutes to clean up that immediate entry area, whether it's an entryway, a living room, or even a laundry room if people are coming in through the garage. I know some families enter their house through the garage. And some of you might be chomping at the bit to put in your 2 cents on the topic I discussed today, and I would welcome more conversation on that. I feel like it's an interesting topic, and I can see both sides of it, even though, like, I don't want anyone cleaning my house. Like, I'm one of those. Okay. Except my own kids. Like, I feel like if I needed help, I would want one of my kids to do it. Like, my adult children could do it. Just don't open the nightstand drawers. Be cleaning up your front entrance or front room. And then when you're done, you're going to sweep your living area and kitchen, or vacuum both, or vacuum one and sweep the other. I don't know what kind of flooring you have or what kind of vacuum you use, but I want you to end with the floors. It's an important finishing touch. If I had just cleaned my living room / entryway and kitchen, the next step would be to sweep and mop the kitchen and to vacuum the living room and entryway, which are one and the same. But while you're finishing up with your floors, I'll just say that this conversation was on the Facebook page entitled Clean With Me Podcast. So if you aren't already following that, you can go there if you use Facebook. I know not everybody's on Facebook. The comments were on a post from about 6 days ago where it says, "A while back, I told an anonymized story submitted by a listener about her cleaning related marriage problems and nightmare mother-in-law. Tell me your best / worst story." That's where the conversation's happening. If you want to comment on that, you could also comment on this episode when I post it on YouTube. Some people listen to my show on a podcast app like Apple, Spotify, Castbox, or whatever else. But then they go over to my YouTube channel, which is also called Clean With Me Podcast, and comment on the episode there. So that's an option if you want to give your 2 cents on this topic. And it does help my YouTube channel if you follow me there, subscribe to my YouTube channel. By the way, something you can do to help me is clicking follow or the plus sign on whichever podcast app you use, and subscribing to my YouTube channel if you ever listen there. And of course, I do post some visual content on the YouTube channel as well. And I would say share my show with a friend who needs it, but obviously tread lightly there, because that could be like telling someone about a diet when they don't even think they need to lose weight. It could be taken offensively. I guess the right way to be would be like, my house is so clean now that I discovered this new podcast or whatever. And, don't imply that someone necessarily needs it, even though they probably do. If you have not yet swept and mopped or vacuumed, because I realize it's only been a couple minutes, put on a couple of your favorite songs and get that done. It's a great finishing touch once you've picked up your front room and you've done your dishes and wiped down your upper surfaces in the kitchen. I hope you got a lot done during this episode. Special thanks to my financial supporters who have already unlocked those bonus episodes. But even just listening to these free episodes helps. I appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, happy cleaning. Also, thank you to T&E for weighing in on the topic of cleaning related marriage problems, mother/mother-in-law problems. I appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, happy cleaning. I'll talk to you soon.